Welcome to Experiencing Consciousness. My name is Dyba.
And I'm Dr. Kathryn Rossi. We're happy you're here.
Okay, would you like to have another question?
Sure.
Okay, so let me check. I was thinking maybe we could address one about the therapeutic relationship that was asked previously. And to make it a bit more simple, okay, there it is, probably. Hypnosis is a tool used in therapy to increase its effectiveness. That's the statement that goes further. In all currents of therapy, there is a meaning assigned or ascribed to therapeutic relationship. Do you think that in the future? Let me check. Well, I'm trying to edit it for a bit. Okay, will it be possible in the future to eliminate therapeutic relationship by knowing how the brain works in a different situations by using some kind of technologies, So the idea behind the question, I believe, is that if we can eliminate therapeutic relationship in the future by knowing so much about how the brain works and how to apply certain things in therapeutic way to certain problems or whatever, that actually therapeutic relationship will be not important or redundant.
Well, I think the therapeutic relationship is always important and central, and it starts with the individual, that you have a relationship with yourself, and you have many consciousnesses, you have many minds on the inside of you. In one situation, that this whole set of intelligences comes to your mind. In another situation, it's different. I liken it to a parent that maybe has a spouse and 3 children, and their relationship is different with each one of them, even though they're the same person on the inside. There's a certain way that we bounce off of another. And also, when you have the observer on the inside of yourself, that's where there can be a relationship going on. For instance, there's that voice inside when you're doing something that says, I don't think that's a good idea. Now, are you going to listen to that voice on the inside of you and say, I don't care, I'm doing it anyway? There could be a voice on the inside of you that says, it's a really good idea for you to take a break. You're going to make mistakes if you continue. And whether you're going to listen to that particular voice. Or there's a voice when you're examining some of the traumas of childhood that are, can be so severe. And so whether that voice is one of gentleness, or that one is a voice of being critical, whether it is a voice that's going to exacerbate it. But all of that, to me, portends a relationship, and that's a relationship within the individual. Now, the question is not about that, I know. The question is about, do you need an outside psychotherapist? And that depends. That depends on if everything is moving really well for you on your own, or if you're feeling stuck. And then the question becomes, so if you're feeling stuck, how many days, weeks, months, years, or decades have you felt that? And if the answer to that question is, well, too many, it's untenable, this is when you seek out having a psychotherapist. a little earlier in talking about, the genes and gene expression, and so the biochemical elements of what makes us human, that's just going to be one aspect of it. And there is going to there will be certain situations where that's enough, that you don't need anything from the outside. But it's that kind of flexibility of understanding, of actually expanding what is a relationship, and then to go into satisfaction. How satisfied are you? How comfortable are you? How peaceful are you? How complacent are you? And do you want to be that complacent, or do you want to be more of a rebel? This sort of thing, that we live in a world where we need to actually bounce off of each other somehow. And so whether that's a relationship with a psychotherapist, or if it's a relationship with your dog, or in my case, my cats, that there's something that then sparks consciousness growth. So will there ever come a time where there could just be a biochemical and that we wouldn't need to have psychotherapy? I don't think so.
Would there be a time where we're gonna have psychotherapy without without therapeutic relationship?
Yeah, well, I don't think so. I think that it's as I say. I think the other question is, and this one's rough. It's like, how do you choose a psychotherapist for yourself? And I wish that were easy, but it's not, because it's not about that. You look at what is this person's training, and are they trained sufficiently enough that they feel that they can help me? It really has to do with that when you meet that person, or you talk with that person, or maybe you read something that they've written, or you listen to a podcast of theirs, anything that helps you to understand them better gives you a greater possibility of selecting somebody that you think can help move you past whatever the difficulty is. But so I think it's easier now, to be honest with you, than it was. But it's still difficult.
Yeah, and I would add to it that there are a lot of research actually. When we are actually going to a research-based psychotherapy, there are a lot of research actually proving that therapeutic relationship is a really important ingredient in all of that. And I would say that particularly in hypnosis, where people are so focused on something that is actually real, and so in the state of hypnosis, pretending that you are someone else, that going to to the side of therapist, will make a client very fast to understand that you are actually faking. They're gonna feel it, and
Oh yeah.
and so I'm thinking that maybe we can actually even reverse the whole thing. I would reverse that and say that probably if I were to be, if I were to try to guess what would be the future of that question, what would be the future of the development of all that thing, I would say that probably we're going to go to more and more research about the importance of therapeutic relationship, and more detailed ways on how to actually build a solid, good and honest relationship with a client, with another person. That's going to help them to utilize their own potentials, to use tools in psychotherapy, and first of all to actually go, as you said, to all those places that they are actually afraid of going and facing things that they are actually afraid to face. So if I were to judge, I would say that we're gonna have even more emphasis on the therapeutic relationship in the future, actually based on all those methods of measuring, and based on the whole research that's going to be done. But I can be wrong. I mean, who knows?
Well, that some of it, and I'm sure people that are listening, that they have this gut response, and that gut response is probably going to be in the affirmative of yeah, I need somebody. Something that we haven't talked about in terms of relationships are the mirror neurons, and that they're pretty remarkable. So mirror neurons are something that are on the inside of all of our brains. Some of us have more of them than others of us. It's good to have a great balance of it. But so with mirror neurons, what happens is that when you've got a good connection, the way that your brain is operating, so not the same thoughts, but the way that your brain is processing, you're processing in a similar way. You're mirroring them. So when you're with a person who really believes in you, and they do, and it's really honest, that your brain starts going into that place of believing in yourself. That it's literally having a little practice on it. And so the research on mirror neurons is I think bodes well towards what is it that's happening within the relationship. And we all come to depend on who we're mirroring. And so I often will tell people that who you have in your life around you really matters. And so how you receive what they're saying. So if you're with a person who's really negative and critical all the time, as some people are, I have huge compassion for people that are like this. I do not have a steady diet of that in my life because I don't want my mirror neurons to emulate that. And so I can have a huge compassion, but not a great connection, is probably the best way to describe that. So, as a therapist, of being with someone that literally can see something in you that you can't see in yourself yet, and your brain starts going like towards those possibilities, is quite remarkable, and it's the scientific truth.
So the future of psychotherapy, just betting, just shooting, the future of psychotherapy, with or without psychotherapeutic relationships?
Got to be a relationship.
Yeah, I would say with the relationship. However,
Yeah.
on the other hand, I'm a huge fan of Philip K. Dick, and a few times in his books there is this, he proposes the opposite vision. In the book called the Blade Runner, or I think it was, if the androids are dreaming, or if the androids dream about electric ships, there's a mood regulator, and the main characters are actually, each day they are actually waking up and regulating their mood with some kind of buttons or scales and stuff. And the husband is actually mad at the wife because she purposefully each day puts on depression into her mood, and he tries to convince her to put a mood called extensive satisfaction from the achievements of my husband. And she doesn't want to agree to put that on. And in some other book, he has he places a tool that's actually in a form of a laptop or something. There's a suitcase that he calls a psychoanalytic psychotherapist. And generally, in this book, people, when they want to do something with themselves, they undergo psychosurgery, or they take some pills. But they actually, if they want, they can pay an electric psychoanalyst, and they do it mainly if they don't want to go to some kind of public service, or like, military or something, because everybody knows in this book that if you undergo psychoanalysis, you will get worse. So 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 there are people who actually undergo this electric psychoanalysis to not go to service or anything. So who knows? Maybe that's the future.
Let's just be open to all of it. It's like, the crazier that these things sound, it's like, let's just be open to it, because what if these possibilities end up being positive in one way or the other? That the worst disservice that we do to ourselves is to already have our minds made up. That's not fun. Like, yeah. What's fun is, like, when we were kids, and the crazy ways that we were, the crazy possibilities that we had. And, certainly all of us have been affected by the fanciful, science fiction books and movies. And then, from when I was a kid, it was Star Trek. And it's like, how many things in Star Trek from the 1960s are common day now? And I really love that. And I facilitate that. I want to still be that kid. I don't want to be the expert unless it's about asking questions and the possibilities. Obviously, I've got some pretty well-developed opinions that, from a lifetime of considering things, but just like to be open. And so I'm actually going to be thinking about this, of the possibilities of this electronic psychoanalysis. But if it's going to make me worse, then no, I don't think so. But it's just, let's have fun.
Yeah, maybe Alexa will develop in this way.
Oh yeah, I can
or Siri, or something.
You're being ridiculous now, aren't you?
Exactly. Oh, man.
Oh gosh, that just opens up a whole other, it's like, that would these days, there's not so many television shows being developed, but I could just see a sitcom of this. That would be so much fun, to write and to watch. And yes, so the future is open, and the future is bright. And this time that we get to spend together, Jan, I always really enjoy it. I always leave with different ideas and different perspectives, and also that the two of us in combination, we're just really positive. We're really positive and possible. And if there's anything,
always having a lot of joy.
Yeah, and if there's anything that we can leave our listeners with, it's like, hey, join us in that. positive possibilities, having fun, a joy. Ask the serious questions,
Yeah.
and we'll do what we can, and then you'll tell us if we got it right or if we need to approach it again.
Yeah, I remember when we were writing something with Dr. Rossi, and I was like, I was all stressed out, and I was like saying to him, I need to do this, and everything else, and he wrote me a mail where he said, Jan, we do it all for having fun and joy, right? Because if not, then why bother? And that stayed with me like for the rest.
Absolutely. And that's also how you are continuously productive,
Mhm.
is that it's not, like working with clients therapeutically. God, what I always feel humbled. It's like, what a joy to be able to help somebody to find the peace that they seek, the resolution that they seek. And I know when I'm getting towards the end of therapy with someone, because we're laughing
Yeah.
more than anything. And so that's my signal when a person is, ready to be on their own until they occasionally need to call me again.
The moment people can laugh at their problems, they actually have a different perspective and a distance, right? So the change actually.
Absolutely. And I'm a firm one that I don't know, I think in music. And so sometimes I'll just sing a funny song,
Mhm.
and it's not always possible. I never force laughter in a psychotherapy session, but if it happens spontaneously, then that's a really beautiful thing. And sometimes people, they're really working through something where there isn't that joy, there isn't that laughter, and that's where they need to see from you that they're going to get to the other side of this. You just plain know it. It's true. You're not making that up.
Mhm. And that's a part of a relationship, by the way.
You know,
Closing up that subject, right?
Yes, and so, I mean, I think everyone will make up their own mind, but I sure hope that it sparks some fun ideas of how something outside of a breathing body, can give you what you need. And I'd be really curious for certain people where that just plain works well, because I'm sure that there are some that's going to be the preferred method. It's not so many, but I'm sure that there are some.
This was another episode of our Experiencing Consciousness podcast. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Jan. You're the best. Be well, be happy, celebrate life.